On this episode of ResiWeek, Silicon Labs finally acquires the ZWave Alliance, Heos has a new playbar killer, and Lutron acquires Ketra and tunes some white light. All this and more on this episode of ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is ResiWeek episode 116. It's Circadian.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Atlas IED, innovative audio solutions for every business environment, and by Draper.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. Today I'm pleased to be joined by Mitch Klein. He's the Executive Director of the ZWave Alliance. How are you, sir?
Doing fabulous. How are you, Matt?
I'm fantastic. Are you ready for the draft?
Rock and rolling.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to trade up?
You've
got
NFL
two.
Draft, just so you know, right?
Huh?
Okay. The NFL draft is probably...
Well, yeah, of course. You know what it is. I know what it is. Our other guest does not. His name is Tim Albright.
I'm just making sure,
and he doesn't know what it is because, well, the Bears don't draft well. They just don't.
Wow.
Yeah. We were talking pre-show how they're already out of the running for the Super Bowl in 2019.
Yes, but we consistently have high draft numbers, though.
Well, yeah, because you consistently lose. You just throw them away.
Or trade them away, more accurately sometimes.
That too. Yeah. The gentleman right there is Tim Albright. He is the founder of AVNation. He's saying hi, filling in for Stephen Brunner, who ditched me today. And as one of my longtime BFFs, I'm devastated, as you can tell. But I quickly replaced him. Moving on.
With me, of all people.
With you, of all people. My other BFF.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the title of the show. All right. Let's jump right into it. This comes to us from embeddedcomputing.com. This is a story that we have been following fairly closely, and I'm sure Mitch has been following really closely. Silicon Labs has finalized their acquisition of ZWave from Sigma Design. This includes 100 employees for approximately $240 million, yada, yada, yada. The biggest thing about this is adding the ZWave mesh technology to Silicon Labs' existing wireless and software portfolio. That includes Bluetooth, Thread, Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and some other proprietary protocols. Mitch, we talked about this when this was first announced, and we talked about it with you.
We did.
This is a bit of a big... this is more than just a bit of a big deal. This is a huge deal because in my mind, this brings together a lot of the communication standards that we use every day in the industry. But for a long time, bits and pieces of them had been fragmented. Now that they're all under one roof, and I realize that this is just announced, this is fresh, to me, this brings a lot more potential for innovation because of the rock solid security aspect and the certified nature of ZWave and what the Alliance does. Is that what you're feeling going into this? Since you asked me not to ask you to pontificate, and now I'm going to.
Well, I can pontificate a little bit. Wait, today's Wednesday, right?
Yes, this airs Wednesday.
It's the end of the quiet period. So I can probably speak to things I've been unable to speak to prior to this airing. So first of all, understand that Silicon Labs is an engineering company. Mm-hmm. That's what they founded upon. That's what they're exceptionally good at, is engineering. And it's a huge win for all of the Alliance members and the ZWave people, just from the perspective that it's now an engineering company that owns the technology. And they acquired ZWave in a large part because our go-to-market strategy, we've been kicking butt. I mean, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, they're so racked up in arm wrestling over the technology and the specifications that we've just kicked their butts and, just gone to market with the stuff. So that's one thing. In terms of where it could go, well, we can speculate that the engineering will just simply move the current ZWave product plan up a notch and move it out faster, do it better and do it cheaper. That's one perspective we could take. Another one is to say, okay, let's move beyond the hardware. Let's say, you put one module together with all the chips in there and you tie them all in through some software that makes interoperability a reality. That's a pretty cool speculation to do right there, so that the radio will become secondary to the application layer.
Right.
Again, pure speculation, but one would assume that that would be a good thing to do. Probably not going to happen as fast as everyone watching this would like, but my guess is you will definitely see that the Z-Wave would likely become the go-to interoperability layer, which could be placed on whichever radio a manufacturer would want to use. Again, all speculation.
Of course, but it kind of, the writing's on the wall that if they're going to buy the Alliance, that's kind of what they're probably going to do. They're not going to run it as a standalone, likely.
Well, we can speculate on that, but
that's what I'm here for.
I can definitely tell you. Yeah, I mean, for anyone that's involved in the smart home, whether retailers, resellers, installers, so on and so forth, there is no downside to this. It is purely upside. It gives an endless loop of possibilities. And again, I'm really excited about it. And our members are as well. And coincidentally, next week, let's see, today's Wednesday. So next Wednesday, Thursday, it kicks off our European Summit, which will be in Amsterdam. You're all welcome to fly out to Amsterdam. We'd love to have you. And we're actually going to be doing an opening session. The VP of the Z-Wave unit and myself are going to do a fireside chat with Tyson Tuttle, who's CEO of Silicon Labs. And he said, no questions out of line.
Wow.
Not that, Tim, but other business related. We're pretty excited about this. And we think this is a wonderful thing. We're really excited about Scilabs.
We're really looking forward to seeing what comes out of this. Tim, when I look at this and when I hear what Mitch is talking about, which is discussions that you and I have had a couple of times about this story, the biggest thing that I see is, if there's a potential to have Z-Wave as kind of that interoperability layer, I love that concept, because to me the biggest thing that's holding back some of the smart home and smart home product deployment is the lack of security in some of those existing protocols.
Oh, totally.
Z-Wave is notoriously good at that. I can't be the only one who's looking at this going, this is going to boost potential security of all of these other products.
Well, no, and here's it's an interesting timing actually, because AVNation is getting ready for Infocom. Right? And the reason I bring that up is because Infocom for the first time is having something called the Integrated Life section at the pavilion that they put together. I want to say it's in the North Hall. It's a number of what I would consider inherently residential or light commercial products. And in that, you're going to have a number of Z-Wave customers, and you're going to have commercial and pro AV dealers looking at these products. Take it back to the residential side for a second. One of the things that folks like Hagai Feiner from Access Networks has been preaching about, and so has our buddy Bruno Napoli, about this stuff has got to be secure. Otherwise, as an integrator, as a dealer that's putting this stuff in, you're going to be liable, right? So having the engineering background, I mean, Mitch said it very well. These are engineers. Having this engineering background and these engineering smarts to give the Z-Wave technology that added security boost, I think, is nothing but a good thing.
Very good. Let's move on to our next story. This comes to us from CE Pro and Bob Archer. Heos soundbar is offering Amazon Alexa compatibility, and more importantly, it's going to stream a bunch of fun stuff. This is a bit of a big deal. Heos has had some soundbars in the past, but this is kind of a fully upgraded model out there. Tim, I want to start with you on this. Everyone in this channel, if you will, everyone in this vertical is chasing Sonos. We can debate quality. We can debate, app capabilities and user experience. Everyone's chasing Sonos. This is directly going after the play bar. At what point do products like this, yes, it's going to connect directly with Amazon. Yes, it's going to stream a bunch of things, specifically Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, Amazon Music, no Apple Music, mind you. At what point do we stop having to compare all of these products to their Sonos comparable product?
As soon as Sonos starts becoming the number 2 and number 3 player.
Is that ever going to happen?
Well, yeah, certainly. And you know, you look at other markets, and there are people that ride the top of the heap for a long time, and then along comes something else that's either cheaper, faster, better, more innovative, and the king gets kicked off the mountain. So certainly, but for the short term, no. Sonos is it. Sonos is the big boy. Sonos is the king of the hill, and that is why the comparisons are made. And just for the record, that's also why the lawsuits happen as well.
And they have the patents. That's true.
They do have the patents. So, Mitch, I want to kind of pull off of that thread. One of the big things that kind of got the last paragraph in this story from Bob was that and I'm going to quote it, on top of its Amazon Alexa voice control capabilities, the HS2 soundbar also provides IP control capabilities and control automation system integration from the big five of our industry. When we look at products like this, that is always the issue that Sonos has, is it doesn't always play well, both from a control standpoint, but also sometimes from a marketing and brand standpoint with the CI, with the CEDIA channel. Are things like this enough to sway most dealers?
Well, first of all, let me just comment that, damn, I just bought a play bar. So
get one of these and you can do A/B testing
right?
for us.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. The second piece, before I answer your question, is, announcing Amazon Alexa integration. Well, it's all about the integration. How well did they do it? What did they do? And we've seen, let's just say, a range of quality when it comes in integrations. And I'll leave it at that.
That's a very good point.
Did they do it well? I don't know. I can't say until you send me the sample to test against my.
Oh, I'm sending you the sample?
Oh, I don't know. Whoever. Anyway, as far as control, well, again, it's all about the quality of that control. What is really available? And speaking from a Sonos perspective, I totally understand. I got friends there in high places. And the reason they've always locked it down is because a lot of integrators, of course, not you who are watching this, but other integrators,
of course,
generally you're not particularly as adept at the user experience as perhaps the manufacturer themselves is. And of course, manufacturers not always adept at it either. But in the case of Sonos, they do a really good job of what their user experience is. And they want to ensure that the experience is not ruined by, let's say, a less than ideal implementation of a Sonos UI. So I understand why they lock it down. That said, there's a lot of really good people who do really good integrations on that side. And of course, Sonos has sort of put a barrier to that and only allowed base level. So until we see exactly what Heos is enabling, it's really hard to comment on, are we going to move people from Sonos to Heos? Because let's face it, if the customers say, hey, I want Sonos, are you going to say, no, you don't want Sonos, you want this? As long as this is the experience the customer is expecting.
So this is my hard thing with that, because this is like on all the Facebook groups that I'm in for kind of the integration channel, this is a revolving question. It always pops up. And I'm of two minds. My company specifically, we sell Sonos and we sell Heos. We put Heos into clients that really want a fully integrated system based off of a control system. We put Sonos in on products, for clients that literally just want some audio. They don't want everything else. They just want audio in their house. That's always been my kind of cutting point. So is it wrong to continually make these comparisons between the two kind of systems?
No, you're always going to be doing that. I mean, that's the bottom line. Heos is playing catch up, let's face it. They did make a very unique product offering. What with that, again, I can't get the model numbers, but the rack-mounted
Yes.
piece. So as long as they continue to go down that pathway, I think you've got it right, Matt, to say, hey, look, here's a really well-integrated solution, and here's kind of not an well-integrated solution, but you got your Sonos. I think that's a good option.
Well, let me ask this real question to you, Matt. To Mitch's point where he said, if the client asks for Sonos, you're going to give them Sonos. How do you sell, or how do you explain to them that, you may not want Sonos because we're doing a fully integrated, a fully automated system?
Pretty much like that.
Yeah.
No, and they buy that? I mean.
Well, it is that simple of just like any other sales conversation you have. The hard part is a lot of times if people know what Sonos is, they know it for two reasons. Either they've seen a commercial and they're like, oh, cool, music everywhere, got it. Or they've been to a friend's house who has it and they've played with it. Yeah. They've been able to show up to a party and just instantly start adding songs to a queue. It's intuitive for most users. The hard part in not shifting a sale, but anytime you try and talk a client out of something that they've kind of got their heart set on, is you do have to properly demonstrate why you're doing it, that you're not doing it for, ulterior motives, i.e. I get more margin on this, or I've got to hit my numbers on that, because clients expect that. You have to really get into the nuts and bolts of, well, the reason we're doing it is because we want to be able to control it from your touch panel that's on the wall in your bedroom. And you want to be able to do it from here. And we want to program all these other things that with Sonos, we don't have that type of control. And if those are the feature sets that they're looking for, it makes sense to them. The hardest thing anytime you have that A/B conversation with Sonos in it is, I don't know how many Sonos systems or products we've sold over the years. I've had one client who had a hard time understanding how to use it. One. And she's, oh gosh, I don't know what she is now, but she would have been at least 75 when we sold it to her.
Wow.
Well,
one
again,
client.
It boils down to Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer. Here are the different user experiences we have available for you. Which of these two would you prefer?
Yeah. It's, as always, know your customer.
Right.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on to a story that comes to us from Residential Systems and Jeremy Glowacki. Lutron acquires Ketra, who is known for their natural LED light technology. This is, I don't want to say this is a massive change in direction for our good friends at Lutron, because they do have a entire LED fixture line already that's run by Mr. Spira, who has passed, but Mr. Spira's daughter. But this is their kind of first jump into a more consumer level product. Ketra was founded in 2009 in Austin, Texas, and its big claim to fame is that it offers tunable light control. Tim, I want to start with you on this. We've been covering a bunch of people, companies, trade organizations really making a push for lighting, and not just lighting control, but actual fixtures, luminaries, in this case, bulbs, and LEDs. Is this like in the past, you would never, as an AV integrator, want to be selling light bulbs? It's just not what most people want to get into.
No.
They don't want to start trying to spec the hundreds of thousands of chandeliers that are available or pendants that are available. But when we get into stuff like this that's automated and has the ability to color temperature shift and do it really, really well across that color spectrum, so that you have bright lights in the morning, dimmer, softer lights at night, modifying that Circadian rhythm, things like that. Normally, you'd think this is way outside the realm of what AV integrators are doing. Why does a company like Lutron, they don't go and make a ton of acquisitions. They just don't play in that space. Why would they go after someone like Ketra?
because there are more and more, especially lighting companies that are getting into, you mentioned the Circadian rhythms and making sure that the color temperature is matching what our bodies should be getting on a daily basis. They have a couple of competitors who have come out with a number of products over the last year or 8 to 18 months that do just this thing. And especially in the residential market, this is becoming more and more of a product feature and more of a sales tactic that is to make sure that your lighting can do this. And either they didn't feel they had the engineering power, or it wasn't coming, the product itself wasn't coming along, or they simply didn't have anything in the pipeline, and they saw this company say, okay, yeah, great, let's pick them up, they're already doing this, and let's get them in. I honestly think that this is going to be, from a lighting standpoint, this is kind of one of the next evolutions of lighting control and design, where from a control and automation standpoint, you mentioned it, you can in the morning make sure that the lighting is a certain temperature and throughout the day. And the other thing that we can do as programmers and control automation folks, you can get feedback from various weather information and change the lighting based on whether or not it's cloudy or not. If we need certain temperatures throughout the day and it's cloudy and the house is not getting those temperatures, well, guess what? We can automate that to make sure that the people inside the home are getting the proper temperatures that they need.
Very good. Mitch, Ed Blair, who's a Lutron Senior VP, is quoted in this and says that this uniquely positions Lutron for a great success in the market's area of growth, like simulated natural light, smart homes and buildings, and tunable white light. We're seeing, and Tim mentioned it, we're seeing a big move to tunable light. You can walk into a Lowe's or a Home Depot or a Home Hardware, and you can see LEDs that, kind of have a color shift as they dim. You can see a lot of these products out there. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. Lutron is notoriously good at providing quality lighting control. By adding fixtures such as this, is this just a move towards bringing essentially this product into the fold, or is this a direct, I don't want to say like a shot across the bow towards like Philips Hue, but is it kind of that Lutron saying, hey, this is our business, this is what we do, we control light. If you want to control, bulbs or fixtures directly, we're going to bring you a way to do that on a higher quality scale than maybe the market has seen previously.
Okay, so first of all,
that was a big one.
It's called circadian rhythm. Circadian, not Arcadian. Arcadian rhythm up in Maine and Arcadian National Park. That's your rhythm going through the mountains there.
Thanks for coming out, though, Tim. Thanks for coming out.
I just went with what you said. I was trying to.
I said circadian. I said circadian.
Arcadian.
Your viewers are going, oh God, they missed it. Anyway, no, they didn't. We're having fun here. So anyway, it's circadian. Lutron is all about light. Okay, They don't say they're all about control. They're all about light, really. So control's always been our perspective from the smart home side. Circadian type rhythm is an important piece that's being deployed in industrial office spaces, things like that. And Lutron's been playing around with that for quite a few years, actually, and trying to control other people's natural light, tunable white light. It becomes natural, again, no pun intended, for them to do this. This is no bow. There's no shot across the bow. This is completely closing the loop on controlling light and natural light, right? They control light through all their blinds, their shades, obviously as a control system. And tunable white light, honestly, you get a lot with this color lighting and color bulbs, things like that, color lamps, if you will. That's kind of fun to play with, but tunable white light is not just something to play with. There's proof positive that it has a dramatic impact on the quality of people's lives, whether at work or at home. And it's a natural for the smart home. And that's where Lutron's playing. So this is a brilliant, to quote my friends from the UK, a brilliant move.
Very good. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Mitch, if people want to find out more about the ZWave Alliance or connect with you, where can they do that?
I would suggest you reach out to me at Mitch at zwavealliance.org. That's z-wavealliance.org. Or you can tweet at me at Mitchell_Klein, Klein. And I'm telling you, this is really exciting stuff. So stay tuned.
Very good. Tim, thank you for filling in for my friend Stephen Bronner, who stood me up again. And I can't wait till he listens to this and gives me a hard time for this. But thanks again for filling in. Where can people connect with you?
Best place is, I guess, Twitter at TD Albright, Tim David Albright. But also, if you're going to Infocom, make sure you come by the tweet up June 6th, between 4 and 6 o'clock.
I'll be there this time.
Excellent. June 6th, 4 to 6 p.m. Free food and drink. Thanks to our friends at Starin. So.
Very much so. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Matt D. Scott. If you want to connect with me, you can find me on Twitter under that handle and pretty much every other social platform. But more importantly, please stop by AVNation.tv. You'll find this show as well as a wide variety of our other shows with all the verticals that we cover. When you visit the website, please take a moment to check out our underwriters. We are extremely thankful for their support and ask that you support them as well. Thanks again for watching. That's all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.